I've been building out my desk setup for the past year, and I finally have it to a point where I'm happy with it and have done most of the upgrades I want to make. I got pretty much all of my inspiration for the setup from YouTube, so I want to make this video to hopefully do the same for someone else. So let's jump in with the brains of the operation, my computer. I'm using a 14-inch MacBook M2 Pro. I'll put the specs on the screen. I can't elaborate on these too much because I'm not really a tech guy, but what I can tell you is this thing is fast. I remember the first time I exported a file in Photoshop and I thought something was wrong because there wasn't even a loading bar and it basically just insta-saved the file to my desktop. I upgraded from a 2020 MacBook Pro with an Intel i5 chip and the difference is huge. When I was editing in Premiere Pro on my old laptop and tried to add a motion text graphic, Premiere Pro would literally just crash. Now I can edit videos with almost no lag and export them way faster. But my favorite part about this computer isn't even the processing speed, it's the ports. It has an HDMI port, SD card reader, 3 USB-C ports, a MagSafe charger connection, and even a headphone jack. No more dongling everything up to get it into a Thunderbolt port, and I don't even have a docking station. I just plug everything in my setup straight into my computer, including my monitor, which is a Samsung 34-inch ultra-wide. It cost me about $220 and is a huge upgrade from my old 21.5-inch HP monitor that I've been using over the last couple of years. I've tried dual monitor setups in the past, but I have to say I prefer having one big monitor over multiple smaller ones. Having one large screen makes it easier to see all of my work without the black bars in the way, and I have my laptop on a stand right next to my monitor that I can use as a second screen if I really want to. And the monitor is attached to my desk with a monitor arm from Wanuo. This is another big upgrade from my old monitor stand, and having the monitor lifted up off the desk greatly increases my usable desk space and allows me to adjust its position really easily. It also has built-in channels for cable management and a little powered USB port that I don't really use. Moving up to the monitor light bar, I got a mid-range one from Xiaomi. Ran me $63, and I mostly got this because I saw a lot of other setups with it. And after researching online, I found that it's good for reducing eye strain since it directs the light from the monitor at an angle down to the desktop. It also lights up my desk space so I can see the keyboard and my journal if I need to write stuff down. I was considering getting a higher end one from BenQ, but I couldn't really find many reasons to justify spending 3 times as much, and I honestly prefer the simplicity of the one that I got. I can control it with this little battery powered wireless puck, and the light sits nicely on top of the monitor, not taking up too much space. I've been using it for about 5 months now with really no complaints. Next up, we have my mouse. I'm currently using the Logitech MX Vertical, which is Logitech's ergonomic mouse. Before this, I had the MX Master 3S, which seems to be the most popular mouse in the productivity space right now. And before this one, I had this super entry-level Logitech mouse that I'm glad I don't use anymore. As for the MX Master 3S, I used it up until the day that it fell off my desk and stopped working. I was happy with it, but the reason I didn't get another one after it broke was mainly because of these buttons here by the thumb. When I was using it, I found myself bumping into them quite frequently and clicking them inadvertently. I'm happy with my switch to the MX Vertical as it is much more ergonomic and comfortable to use. I do miss some of the features of the Master 3S, mainly the horizontal scroll wheel that made it really convenient to scroll through things like the Premiere Pro timeline, and the quiet clicking. Here's a quick comparison of the sound difference. But even without these features, I plan on sticking with the MX Vertical for the foreseeable future, mostly because of how comfortable and simple it is. My keyboard is the Newfie Air 75. This is probably my favorite part of the setup as I am a big mechanical keyboard fan. I upgraded from this cheap Logitech keyboard that came as a kit with the old Logitech mouse I had. And of all my upgrades, I say this one gave my setup the biggest boost in productivity and aesthetic. As a mechanical keyboard, it has that classic clicky clacky sound, so I can make sure everyone in my vicinity knows that I'm working and how fast I can type. I use it primarily in wireless mode, which means I have to charge the 2500 milliamp hour battery every now and then. I've been using it for about 6 months now, and I have noticed that the battery is dying a lot more frequently than it originally did, but that's kind of just the nature of lithium-ion batteries. Its lighting setup is adjustable to many different modes and is more sophisticated than the typical RGB gamer keyboards. The keycaps are very thin, which I like a lot, and it came with a little keycap removal tool, charging cable, some separate keycaps for Windows, and little mounting feet that I have installed to raise it up a little bit. It even comes with some cool stickers. It is a 75% keyboard, so it doesn't take up too much space and is designed to fit right on top of a laptop keyboard. The only 2 downsides to this keyboard is that since it is 75%, it doesn't have a number pad, and the side lights were a little confusing at first until I figured out what they meant. All in all, amazing keyboard and not one I plan to get rid of anytime soon. My speakers are Logitech Z337s, which I'm pretty sure have been discontinued. I got them a few years ago as a gift, and they're pretty solid Bluetooth speakers, so I haven't really had a good reason to change them. The subwoofer used to be on top of my desk, but I was annoyed with how much space it was taking up, so I got some mounting feet and mounted it to the bottom of my desk. I got them from a seller on Etsy who 3D prints them. I'll leave a link to his shop down in the description. And after getting them in the mail, I realized that they're actually designed for a different model of Logitech speakers, but all I had to do was buy an extra set of wood screws and a few washers, and I was able to mount it just fine. The extra desk space that it freed up is great, and since it's mounted straight to my desk, I can still use the sitting and standing feature of my desk with no issues. Now onto my desk mat, which is from Grovemade. This one is a light gray wool felt one in the medium plus size, and this is an upgrade from a faux leather dark gray one I got on Amazon for 12 bucks. It served me well for a while, but the biggest issue I had with it was how easily it slid around the desktop. I tried to counter this by placing some non-slip rubber grip material used for keeping carpets from sliding around, and this helped a little bit, but it was still way too slippery. The new wool Grovemade one paired with a non-slip rubber mat keeps enough friction to stop it sliding almost entirely, and even though I think it's a little overpriced at $90, I think it was worth it for my setup, and I'm pretty happy with it. My laptop stand is from Nulaxi, and I was just looking for something simple to raise my computer up a little bit, which this does just fine. It helps out my setup's aesthetic a little bit and makes it easier to use my computer as a second screen. This little drawer right here is really convenient for storing my pens, pencils, and little dongles. It came in a pack of 2. I haven't really decided where I want the second one to go. Having this drawer space is a huge help with keeping my desk organized and clutter-free, and is something I highly recommend for pretty much every setup. Despite all of the fancy software out there, I still love having a place to write things down physically, and that's why this Moleskine planner sits on top of my desk pretty much all the time and has basically become part of my setup. There's something about pen and paper that will never get old to me, and I use it to write down random ideas that I have throughout the day and tracking my appointments or other plans. Next up, we have Mr. Plant. He brings some nature vibes to the desk and is fake, so I don't have to worry about killing him. My desk itself is an Edison desktop from IKEA mounted on a standing desk frame from Topsky. I did a video detailing how I set this up and got the parts for it that you can check out right here or down in the description. My chair is this model from IKEA, which I can't pronounce. I also did a detailed review of this that you can check out here or in the description once again. And no setup is complete without proper cable management. If you can spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on a nice setup, you can spend 30 bucks cleaning up your cables. I cleaned mine up with a cheap clamp-on tray from Amazon and some adhesive and Velcro ties. Just like my chair and my desk, I have a video on my channel that goes more in depth on how I organize everything if you want to check that out. And now for the best part of the setup, my 10,000 hours poster. I use this to track my progress towards achieving 10,000 hours of practice in martial arts, but it can be used to track practice in any skill you want to master. I fill in one of the 10,000 squares every time I go to jiu-jitsu or boxing classes, and having it on my wall provides me a daily reminder of my commitment to mastery. If that's something that interests you, you can check it out in the description below to get one for yourself. And that concludes my setup tour. I hope you learned something or gained some inspiration for your own setup. If you have any setup recommendations or tips, please let us know in the comment section below. And of course, drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.